What's going on, everyone? This is Dom, and today we are taking a look at the differences in photo and video quality between these two bad boys right here, the iPhone 13 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I lost my Pro Max, but good news here for us is that there is no difference between the 13 Pro and the 13 Pro Max in terms of camera quality. They are both the same, so the examples will be just fine. Anyway, these are the two top dogs in photo and video quality, at least in my opinion. I think in a lot of people's opinion. So it comes down to, are you team Apple or are you team Android? Because this is what you got to pick from right now in 2022 at this very moment in time. I know some people are gonna say,
Dom, you're not talking about the iPhone 14, that's not fair.
This is what we have now, so just shut up for now. We'll revisit that later this year. So you can see here on the back of these two devices, there is quite a difference between the two, mostly being that we have a whole extra camera on the Samsung phone here. We have our 10x optical zoom on the S22 Ultra, and 10 times zoom is pretty extensive. I mean, we're gonna give Samsung the win in that department because they just have it. We're also giving them the win on 8K video because this just can't do it. Whether or not that's important to you is an entirely different opinion and an entirely different video, but Samsung wins definitely in that department for sure. 10 times optical zoom on photo, and we have 8K video. So there's that. Now with the iPhone 13 Pro, we do have 12 megapixels across the board for all three of the cameras there. We have our standard wide angle lens, we have an ultra wide angle lens, and we have a 3 times telephoto zoom, which is nice. I mean, but we do have all those things also on the S22 Ultra. We have our we have 12 megapixels across the board in most of the standard areas, but we also do have a 108 megapixel shooter here as well. And it's questionable whether or not you're really gonna notice that difference. I mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit though. As I mentioned, as far as video goes, we got 4K quality on here. We have 8K on the S22 Ultra, up to 24 frames per second. So that's kind of an advantage. Again, really depends on your usage. I don't know, how many of you actually care about shooting 8K video on your cell phone right now? Now for this comparison, I did shoot both 12 megapixel photos and 108 megapixel photos of the same things on the S22 Ultra, and I shot that same exact shot on the iPhone 13 Pro. And I gotta say, with the 108 megapixels on the S22 Ultra, you can definitely see a difference in detail. Of course, you can crop in a lot further, so you have a lot more of that detail preserved. I don't think the exposure is as great as just shooting with the standard 12 megapixels on the S22 Ultra. That's just my opinion though, but there definitely is a difference in the details. The difference is in the details, right? You've heard that saying before. So I would say, yeah, obviously megapixels doesn't always matter, but it does make a difference and give the S22 Ultra a slight edge in this basic comparison. Now, as far as looking at the photos between these two, I mean, it's kind of hard to like say specifically, okay, well, this one's definitively better than this one. I do think that in some cases, the S22 exposes better than the iPhone 13 Pro, and then in other cases, I feel like the iPhone 13 Pro does a good job. I mean, it's so conditional. These two cameras are the best we can get from either company, and obviously they're showing and giving their all between them. So I feel like the camera comparison on these, let's be honest here. At the end of the day, when you go ahead and take one of these and upload it to Instagram, and it just kind of compresses it, and you know, wherever you're sharing on social media, are you really gonna be able to truly notice the difference unless one was completely horrible and the other one wasn't? I think that both of these are taking pretty phenomenal photos. Now, when we're talking about basic video quality between these two, I mean, I'm shooting on them right now, and we're just kind of in my little lit environment for videos. And I don't know, I mean, I'd be curious to know what you think is as far as the winner goes and the stabilization. I'm just kind of moving these around. It does seem like the S22 Ultra has a little bit of the edge in as far as the competition goes on the stabilization aspect of things. That's just my initial thoughts just by looking at the video on the screen. But here's the thing. Video in low light, definitely how the sensor performs is one thing, but when you get outdoors, I mean, I feel like it's gonna be really hard to notice a true difference in the sheer quality of the matter, because the sensors are getting as much light as they can take in, and they're doing their best. I mean, I feel like we're at this kind of plateau of smartphone technology where it's like now the sensors in both of these cameras, there's no big difference in quality. It's all about software optimization and which one has better algorithms to stabilize and focusing and things like that. So I feel like outdoors, a video comparison between these two is not really going to give much information, especially after YouTube and, you know, Final Cut and everybody just squishes it down. I don't think that you're really gonna notice a drastic difference there. All right, so here we go with a front-facing camera comparison for video between the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the S22 Ultra, and you can hear the audio between the two devices, and I'm curious to know which one you think is better. All right, so now we're on the rear-facing ultra-wide camera iPhone 13 Pro Max, Galaxy S22 Ultra, all these names, there's so many words in the name, so many things. Let me know what you think. I will say though, when it comes to being outside, shooting on these phones, I have to say that the S22 Ultra has quite a bright screen outdoors, which I definitely noticed the difference between the two. I mean, if you're in a really sunny environment, trying to capture like a kid's soccer game or grandma walking down the stairs, whatever it may be, this is easier to see outside. At least that was my experience while I was testing the two. And I think this tops out at 1300 nits brightness. This one is 1200, so not by a long shot, but just enough that it made a noticeable difference to me. All right, so here we are on the front-facing camera on the iPhone 13 Pro and the S22 Ultra. Let's see which one fares better. It looks like the iPhone is continuing to expose the background a little bit better than the S22 Ultra. Let's go back into the lighting area. Front-facing camera here on both of them, obviously. And yeah, I don't know, let me know your thoughts. All right, so here we are on the rear-facing camera. We are in a low light setting. Again, I wanna see how these kind of perform in low light because we know daylight is gonna be just fine. But this is kind of how I'm going from light back into the dark, and we'll see how these expose. But I mean, really, at the end of the day, let's say the iPhone had a better camera, or let's say the Samsung had a better camera. Are you really gonna switch between these platforms for the better camera, or is the platform more important to you? That's what I wanna know in the comment section below, because I feel like everybody's like, oh, I need to see which one is the best camera. But if you're an Android fan through and through, are you really gonna jump ship to iPhone because it has a slight competitive edge on the camera? We're not talking about miles apart here. We're just talking about, oh, maybe this one does one thing better. Like, are iPhone users really gonna switch over from an iPhone to an S22 because it can shoot 8K video? Probably not. So like, what are we doing these comparisons for really, other than fanboy wars? That's just my opinion though, but I would love to know yours. Which one do you prefer and why? I mean, would you really choose a phone and ditch an ecosystem specifically for the camera quality when they're this close? We've seen it all. We've seen the video outside, indoors, low light, etc. I wanna know your thoughts down in those comment sections below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button because it does help out the channel a lot. And if you're new around here, ring the bell, do the thing, subscribe to the channel, and I appreciate all of the support, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, this comparison between the top dogs in the smartphone world, at least at this moment in time. I gotta preface that, or the Apple people will get really mad at me for not mentioning that there's another phone coming out later this year. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, really do appreciate it. This has been Dom, and I will catch you in the next video.